Welcome to another Let's Build a House series. Silly me, I was not paying any attention to my computer space, and I had all kinds of videos, and I hadn't edited any of them or downsized them, and I probably used about 150 gig, and I ran out of space on my computer when I was recording the last part of this series, and I was unable to show you my little surprise that we were doing. What we're doing is creating a secret passageway through the basement of this house, as you can see right here. We're going to have two entrances or exits, one over here, and then one down here as well. And I was also thinking in different various areas of the house, we will also have more secret passageways to enter this passageway from the basement. And then I was not sure what all got missed for sure. Not sure what got cut out and what got missed, so I apologize for that. Only a few minutes did not get recorded. So here's the house, the final from the version before. I guess I don't think anything really got missed too much. Of course the passageways here are put in, and then another passageway is going to come out right over here. So I'm not really too sure. So we're going to go ahead and pick up in this video where we should have left off in the last video. So let's get started. So we had gotten a suggestion from British designer about using these patterns from the base game in the sets on using it here in the gable area of the build. So I decided to go ahead and give them a try, go check them out and see what we had there. I don't normally go into the sets too often because the past, a few times I do go in there, I don't normally find anything that I'm liking or looking for or anything like that. So I do take a look at these, and I try several different ones actually. And here I'm just trying to see about changing the color. I had really liked this one until I noticed that it had a line, of course, from the top of the peak being a little taller than one wall, and I wasn't sure how I liked that. Other than that, I really liked that pattern, and I might use that again, but I thought I'm going to go ahead and try a few different ones and just kind of see what there were. So I'm going through a whole bunch of them here, and just kind of checking them out. I thought I'd even try this one on a few other gables as well. And I went back to this one, I looked at it, and I just wasn't finding, I really liked that one, but again, I didn't like how, that line, the trim came through the top of the peak there. So I'm just going through looking to see if I could maybe find something maybe similar for it to put there. And then I happen to remember a few different ones that I've seen with these kind of patterns. I thought, well, why don't we give this one a try and see what this one would look like here instead. So we go through changing the colors, to match the house. That way you get a better, better look on how it's going to look. And again, I like this design on some houses, but it just wasn't happening for me on this style of house. I mean, you'll even see it kind of pause just slightly. That's because I'm actually just sitting there staring at the house, just trying to see, if I like it. And some of them I do like, but it just wasn't happening for me in this house. So as of right now, we are still going to use a shaker siding for now, for right there, in case I happen to stumble on maybe another pattern that I would rather try instead. But for now, that's what we're going to use. So now we're on to the windows. I thought first I wanted to do this turret because I was very interested to know whether or not any roofing had come through the top of the turret where we had changed the roof. So here we're going through, and I was putting the windows in, and unfortunately some of the roof does come through. So I thought, well, I know there was some windows in here that had closed shutters, so I thought I'd give that a try. But Unfortunately, my turret is just too small. You really need a turret that has a minimum of 2 squares per wall for these ones to fit, so they just weren't working. So the idea of closed shutters was not going to happen. So I was looking everywhere just to see if maybe there's an alternative kind of window that I could use, because that was the only area of the turret where we were having problems with the roof coming through. So I couldn't find a window, and basically what I'm thinking I am going to do is I'm going to find some kind of one of the curtains, and I'm going to put them in there to block it. That way you can't really see into it. At the time, I just went ahead and left it go. That's why, as you can see, I have moved on and thought I'd try some windows in different areas. And I really wanted to use some windows that had shutters. And these were the only windows that actually come with shutters that wasn't store content. And I would, other than the greenhouse, I would like to try to not use too much in the way of store content. I don't know for sure what I'm going to use exactly. There is a possibility that there might be more, store content added, but I will try to keep that to a minimal because I know some people don't have that, and that's fine. So just going through, mainly doing the windows, and adjusting my roofing. It really irritates me how when you put the roofs on that those black lines show up. That really bugs me, and I do try to get rid of them or lessen them, I guess. No, not quite as much, minimal of those black lines and stuff in the roof, but unfortunately in this game you can't always get rid of them. They are there. So just going through and trying to decide. I really wanted a door right there. I just felt 2 entrances to the porch was needed, but they didn't really have a door I wanted to use. And for the now, I thought the windows, those windows looked good. So for now, I thought I'd leave those there, and we'll just see what happens later on. And then this one, where the bigger turret used to sit, I wanted really big windows. I'm kind of kicking around the idea of maybe some kind of ballroom right there is kind of what I'm thinking for in that area, with all those big windows. And here I am just adding a little bit of a deck. Like I said, I wanted a deck to come out right here, so we're adding a little bit of detail to it by having it curve or diagonal a little bit there. And of course, the foundation fighting with me a little bit. It didn't want to go in, but we got it. So just a nice little deck area. I think I'm going to have some stairs come out of it right there by the window. I think is kind of where I'm thinking. I haven't decided for sure yet, but and I thought maybe the door right there, because it's not really going to be, I guess a big focal point for the to go out there in the house. So just kind of looking, placing windows. And at the time, I had completely forgot about the shutters that are in the decorations. I normally use those quite often because these windows only go in the center of the wall, while if you use the windows that have those flower boxes and the shutters from the decorations, those can go on one tile instead of needing 2 like those other ones do. So again, and right here's where I had realized, thought, oh, that's right, those shutters, but at the time I couldn't quite remember which window those went to. So when I first put these on, as you can see, that window is a little bit too tall, and that's when I realized that it was not the window, and went ahead and put the window that does go with it nicely. So, and of course I want the shutters all to match and everything like that. That way the windows look like they're supposed to be with each other. And just going through and doing a few more windows because I didn't want big fancy modern windows or anything throughout the house. This is a Victorian, and those are more home style and a little bit more I'm not sure what the terminology is for it, but they're definitely not modern. So I didn't want too many big gigantic windows, and I didn't want, I wanted them to have, more of the I can't think of what the word is. More like, I don't know, not really down to earth, but more country style, I guess, is what I'm thinking. And then I thought, well, you know what? I was over here and I happened to see where I pulled the wall out in the concrete there. I thought, you know what? This really should come out farther. It'll make it a lot easier for doing the deck up here, the balcony area, and so that's why I did that. Sometimes I will change the way a house is designed. That way it works with the surrounding walls or the surrounding decks and things like that. So that's why I ended up doing that small little change. So again, just trying to get some more windows. We do use quite a few of these larger windows, but I do also try to incorporate as many of the shuttered ones as I could. So, and some of the rooms really did call for the centered windows instead of the other ones. So that's kind of why those are kind of staggered, and that's why you'll see that I try a few windows here and there and see which one I like preferably. That way I get the one that I am looking for. So, and then what I plan on doing is having a door. I would like, obviously a door to get out to that deck, of course. But I'm also going to do a door from the greenhouse as well. Can also another entrance onto these decks. With how many decks we have and all these balconies, definitely need lots of entrances and different ways to get to it and things like that. So here I am just putting. Now each one of these dormers are a little bit different. I think some of the windows had to be the ones that go in the center, and like that one right there, and some were a little bit wider, so they needed the other one. So it was kind of just putting them in and seeing which one fit best. So like that one right there, and I decided those two front up there should have different ones as well, because they seemed really spaced far apart. I didn't like how far apart they were. So that's what we're doing right there, is just trying to figure out which windows that need to go where. So I've been kind of having a few ideas with the attic space. I'm thinking I'll like part of the attic to only be accessible through a secret passageway. I was kind of thinking of using the hidden bookshelf, I think it is. The secret doorway, I guess that looks like a bookshelf, where it goes into a hallway, and then it'll be a staircase going up to only a certain section of the attic, while the other attic uses a normal staircase out in the open of the second floor or something like that, that everybody knows it's there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on the attic. It's not very big space, so I was just thinking maybe something small up there for a secret room. So, and here I'm just trying to decide what kind of pillars, or not really pillars, but I guess that is kind of what they're called. It just seemed like something really big and sturdy needed to go to help hold up this massive roof. That's why I chose this one that sits on concrete. And as I'm trying to decide the coloring, which I liked the color, I was like, well, you really need a railing that goes with that big concrete base. And I try a few different ones, and of course you can't color those, so that was unfortunate, not able to color them. And I'm going through so many of them just trying to look, and it's like there is nothing that I thought that went with these columns. I was just trying everywhere trying to find something, and since you couldn't recolor it, that made it even more difficult not being able to color them. So I ended up scratching that idea and just going with some basic columns with this fence here. And I kind of matched the fence up a little bit with the colors. I used that darker brown and the white, and as you can see, that just didn't look right. I really didn't like it. As you can see, I'm looking at it at different angles, and I really didn't care for it. So we end up just using this railing. I liked this one, so we go ahead and start putting it everywhere. And as you can see, I decided that I didn't really like the foundation sticking out right there, so just doing a little bit of some cosmetic work over here, just so that flows much nicer and looks a little bit nicer and more cleaner of a look. And of course that fence hadn't been changed, so took that out and put a new one in. I guess it's a railing when you put it up here, not a fence. So I'm just adding the railings where they needed to be. That way those are taken care of. And of course that door was in the way, so I went ahead, I thought let's go ahead and do the rest of these railings, since I was going to have to do more copying and stuff to move that door around. So the railings got taken care of, and then I thought, well, why not a railing there? So I'm not really too sure if I'm going to keep that railing there, because that kind of prevents anybody from walking from the ground to that portion, but it's there for the time being. We'll see if it stays. I'm not sure how well I care for it right now, but so these are the railings I chose because they do match the pillars. They do match the railing, as in the style and the decoration and everything. And I like putting the pillars and stuff right up against the house, just for a little added detail. I have seen many porches that do the same thing, so that's why you'll see that I put them right up next to, that one kind of had to for the roof, but that just kind of made sense going right there. So there wasn't any other covered porches. So, and then I decided, I'd been looking at these shutters for a very long time, and they weren't exactly the same color of brown, the same shade of brown I should say. They were too bright of a brown. So I finally decided at this time to go through and change all those shutters. So if you're wondering why them shutters were, not getting changed, because they didn't, they were so bright colored, that's why. I just hadn't gotten around to doing it. So then I decided that we might as well go ahead and take care of these ones too while we're at it, so we don't forget. And I thought that looked much nicer, having them a little bit of a darker brown to match the doors and some of the windows and the roof. So we do get to a little bit of landscaping in this part, not a whole lot, but we do get to a little bit. I don't want these to be too long, since I am, slowing down. The speed on these aren't as quick as your normal speed build, because I would like you to be able to take time and see what it is I'm doing, and maybe you'll be able to learn from this video. I'm not sure, but just something. I just thought it'd be nice if it moved a little bit slower so you could watch it, see a bit more of what we're doing. So right here is one of the entrances to the little walk through in the basement there. I do end up changing the texture in it completely. I do end up changing it to a brick to match. That way it's not quite as visible. Because we do want these to be a little bit secretive, at least that's the idea of them, a little secret passageway through the house. So then here I'm just trying to decide what kind of driveway I wanted. I was hoping to have found some kind of brick that kind of matched the foundation, but this was the only one that was even remotely close to the color, and I didn't like it. So as you can see, I'll go through several different ones. I thought, that actually looked pretty good, because it went with the brown and the roof, but I still wasn't fully sold on it. So as you can see, I go through several different ones before I finally decided to erase it all and start fresh. So this, I think, is the one I end up going with. Even with a house this luxurious, this big, it just still seemed like the right choice. But let me know what you think in the comments below on whether or not you like that driveway, and if you have maybe a better idea of what we can do, we can definitely give that a try as well. So here I am just trying to figure out what kind of landscaping I would like to do here to try to help hide this door, because it is right in the front, right by the garage. I did realize when I put that door there that it was going to be right there out in the open. But I thought maybe we could kind of hide it maybe a little bit with some landscaping and things like that. So we'll see how it works. We'll see how it does. I've never done any kind of secret passageways or anything like that. And when I was thinking about doing this house, I knew I wanted to create a large Victorian. And of course, large homes take me a very long time. So But I was also thinking it'd be really neat to be able to have like secret passageways in the house, including the basement and the living space and all kinds, you know, some of them really old houses had all kinds of secret passageways. And a lot of them were actually for servants that way because they weren't allowed to be wandering the house. They weren't allowed to be seen. So houses back then had all kinds of secret passageways for the servants to get from one place of the house to the next without being seen. So that's kind of another idea, you know, with this house. I wasn't sure what all I was going to do. But I definitely wanted to include little passageways and things like that in the house. So now I had gone through looking because I could have swore there was some kind of vine or something in the plants, but I couldn't find any. So I don't know if that was a store content that I seen somebody else using, or if that was maybe some custom content that I had a long time ago and that I don't have anymore. So I'm not really too sure exactly on that. But this video is about done, so I'm going to go ahead and leave you here for the rest of the video. So thank you for watching. Leave any suggestions down in the comments below for me, and I'll definitely take them in consideration. And we will see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.